Welcome to this video. Yeah, this is a quick recap of the London Grand Prix tournament, which has been finished just today. Today was the last round, and I'll present one game from the tournament and also do a quick recap here at the beginning of the whole event. So I'm starting here with the cross table, and the shared tournament winners are Mamedyarov, Gelfand and Topalov. I'm not quite sure about the tie breaks here. This final ranking here shows the standings, of course, according to Sonneborn-Berger Wertung, German word Sonneborn-Berger tiebreak, I guess in English. It's kind of weird to combine these German words with an English one. Yeah, all three players played a very good tournament. You see that Topalov didn't lose a game, but won 3 against the tail enders, more tail enders like he won against Dominguez Giri and against Grischuk. Gelfand had an excellent start with winning, I think, 3 games early, but then he lost to Grischuk and was overtaken by Mamedyarov, who also played excellently well. He also lost early against Grischuk and then started to win a couple of games and was in the lead actually before the last round. And in the last round, Gelfand and Topalov with wins caught up to him. So all three players, I guess, can be very satisfied with the result. I think especially Topalov had very, very tough 2 years after his loss in the World Championship match 2010, and this is probably his first tournament win after this. I'm not 100% sure, but could be true. Yeah, following is Grischuk, who actually managed to beat 2 of the co-leaders, Mamedyarov and Gelfand, both in excellent games, and he drew the rest. Yeah, he just needed one extra win to win the tournament. I think he played great chess. Also, I think maybe he's not 100% satisfied with this place, but certainly not a bad tournament at all. Leko also played very solidly, as we are used to from him, and he won a game against Grischuk. Nice technical display and drew the rest. Not short draws, it was fighting chess, but lots of draws anyway. Wang Hao managed to beat Nakamura and lost one very funny endgame against Gelfand, where it was completely drawn and he spoiled it with a really silly blunder at the end. Yeah, Adams on -1, same as Grischuk. They both had an up and down tournament. Managed to beat Nakamura, but everything else they didn't do so well. Then we had Kazimjanov and Dominguez, both on -2. Yeah, I guess they're not satisfied, but someone needs to get on those bottom places in this tournament. As you can see, it is exceptionally strong. The only player below 2,700 is Kazimjanov, and he's not far away. Yeah, then the shared last places are really a surprise. Anish Giri from the Netherlands, he had excellent results recently, but in this tournament it simply wasn't to be. It didn't win a game and lost 3 actually. And yeah, the most disappointed player is certainly Nakamura, who managed to lose 4 games in a row in the middle of the tournament. It simply was terrible to watch this series of bad results. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened. They had great results before, but simply in this tournament everything went wrong. It's really hard to say. Sometimes you only learn afterwards that there was some illness or something. You never know. At least not if you don't have any inside information. So yeah, very bad tournament for him, but he's a fighter. He will come back for sure. Okay, I wanted to pick one game, and at the end I choose. Let's close this now. I went for Grischuk against Gelfand. In the round, this was played a couple of rounds before the final round today, so it was in a situation where Gelfand was leading the tournament and Grischuk really needed to win to have some chances. So let's see what happens. 1 e4 and Gelfand playing c5. He really sticks to his preparation for the World Championship match, so he played the Sveshnikov and he even played the Grunfeld, so this wasn't a one-off for the title match. And Grischuk now surprisingly plays knight c3. Usually he just goes for the open Sicilian, but knight c3, knight c6. Of course, this is Gelfand wants to go for his lines, then he needs to play knight c6 for his Sveshnikov, I mean. And here Grischuk played the interesting move bishop b5. This is still an offbeat line in a way, but it's very interesting and something I can recommend to white players, because it's very tricky, and the black players very often don't have a clear idea what to do. Gelfand played knight d4 here, which is maybe the best move. There are alternatives, of course. The idea of all this is the following. If black would play a move like g6 here, then white can take on c6 and then transpose into a kind of Grand Prix attack where he managed to exchange the bishop on c6. This is something that white usually doesn't manage in the Grand Prix. If you compare this, just to show what I mean, let's say this kind of move order. Here black normally plays this to avoid the capture on c6. And this is something that he didn't manage here, as white captures first and then plays f4. So this is an interesting setup. The critical move is probably knight d4, as Gelfand also played. Here white can, if he wants, retreat to c4, but he can also play knight f3. This is what Grischuk did. And now Gelfand played e6. Here he also could have taken on b5, which isn't bad, but this is something that involves a little bit of a risk, because if you look at just a sample line here, all this knight d4, knight b5 has cost black some time, and white now has queen on d4, which is not so easy to get away from there. I mean, you can play e5, but this would weaken the whole central structure. And if black plays some slow moves, then white is very quick in development. It's a bit similar to the 3 queen takes d4 variation on 2d6, but it's somehow quicker here for white. What I'm talking about is, just quickly, I'm talking about this line. Yeah, this is a known variation, and now compare this to what we had in the game. Oops, this was too quick. If black would take now, this is similar to the other line, but in the other line black has already a bishop on c6, and here white is simply quicker. Okay, this is why he didn't take on b5. It is playable, but not the best move probably. He just played e6, and white now castles. Interesting here is if you take on d4, which is a pretty common mistake, black has this move. Quite funny double attack, and he will win a pawn on g2. This is why white cannot take, and he just castled. If black would take now on b5, this would be quite similar to b4. So he didn't do that. He played the move a6, which is a normal move in the Sicilian anyway. And white retreated to d3. There's not much else. It looks a bit funny to place the bishop here in front of the pawn, but there is an idea behind all that. Here black can also play knight e7. He played something else, but let's look at knight e7. If black just continues developing with the idea to support his knight on d4, then white would take and play here. and then c3. This is the idea, to attack the pawn and force black at some point to capture, and then your bishop will get into play. It can go something like this, just to illustrate. And for example, after this, white will get the bishop out finally. So it's not a big problem that it is blocked at the moment. But Gelfand played another move, funny move. He just retreated the knight. So we've got some funny maneuvers here. And yeah, this sort of asks white, what are you doing with the bishop on d3? Now that you cannot take anymore on d4. And Grischuk answered this question with bishop e2. Just dropping this bishop back. Yeah, you can ask yourself now, what the hell is happening? All these multiple moves. Did someone lose the tempo here? Yeah, in fact, this position could also arise after 5 moves. It's just identical to something like, let's say, knight c6, knight f3, e6, bishop e2, a6, castles. This is just the same position, only 2 moves less. So in the game, it took some time to get there, but we have the same position. And the funny thing about this is, yeah, probably the normal move, or normal moves here would be queen c7, or let's say d6. And all these moves after d4 would lead to a typical open Sicilian, where white has gone for this bishop e2 line. But well, this is a Scheveningen, or probably if you would go here, we have a Taimanov variation, and both the Scheveningen and the Taimanov are outside Gelfand's repertoire. He plays the Najdorf, or he plays the Sveshnikov, but he doesn't play any of this. So this is really funny, and I guess he didn't want to get into one of those lines. So what did he do? He went knight d4 back. Yeah, this is a game which is really a bit difficult to explain to, let's say, less experienced players, because it is violating all kinds of principles. Black is just going back and forth with his knight. Yeah, I think you can do this. It's slightly risky, but it's nothing too bad. Yeah, Gelfand went knight d4, and Grischuk just went back. So we have a repetition here. And what did Gelfand do? He went back. So we have the same position that we had 2 moves ago. And here Grischuk played bishop e2. Okay, but he didn't want to draw. Gelfand obviously didn't mind to draw this game. He was leading the tournament. So yeah, what moves are there that are not bishop e2? Yeah, there's rook e1 and b3. And okay, Grischuk played b3 to fianchetto the bishop, so we won't have a quick draw. Very funny first moves. So black played d6 here, and knight f6, just normal moves. We are back into normal chess mode again. Rook e1. Yeah, it's funny, this bishop on d3, but well, it's not so badly positioned there. You see that white is going for e5. And this bishop has a potentially very good diagonal, so all this makes sense. Black now played bishop e7. Here he had a principled alternative. He could have played e5 also to block this and block the bishop also. I think the problem might be knight d5, with white intending to play a quick c3, probably moving the bishop to f1 or to c4, and then d4. White is much better developed after all. I think that was what he didn't like. Still, this is a setup that black can consider, because it is much safer than the setup that was played in the game. We see what I'm talking about. He played bishop e7, and now Grischuk went e5. Yeah, okay, black needs to take it, knight e5. And now we see that those bishops are potentially very strong. Yeah, played bishop d7 now, and knight e4. Yeah, putting this diagonal to good use. And black exchanged on e5 and played bishop c6 to get the bishop to a good diagonal as well. And now knight to f3, queen to f3. Yeah, now we see that the bishops are dangerous, and there are various lines to illustrate that. Gelfand now played rook c8. But what would happen if he would castle? In fact, this loses a pawn, surprisingly, because of knight f6 here. Bishop f6, bishop f6. Yeah, queen needs to take now. And queen h5. And now we have a double attack, threatening mate. And oops, yeah, black has lost a pawn. This isn't so easy to foresee even. Yeah, in fact, black is not a clear pawn down. He has a bit of compensation, as now the bishop is a bit silly on d3, and this one is, oops, not here. Here, of course, is pretty good. It's got ideas like this. Black has, yeah, a bit of compensation, but not enough for a pawn. So it's understandable that he didn't castle. He played rook to c8. But this at least was a chance to get castles in. Now came rook e3. Yeah, and what now? If black would castle now, which he didn't do,
check,
he would get immediately destroyed with this classic sacrifice.
Check.
Yeah, and it's over. Yeah, black can play all kinds of silly stuff here to continue the game, but this is killing. So here black cannot castle, and this is by far the most natural move that you want to play. Yeah, what else is there? Black can try to prepare castle with move like h6, but after this you need to reckon with queen g3, maybe even instantly, and it's also not too comfortable. It's not easy to play this position, so h6 doesn't help much. Yeah, you can consider knight d5 also, attacking this rook, but here white has a very strong reply in queen g3, and this is indeed very strong. What should black do now? He cannot really, and this is a shame, defend g7. What should he do? You can consider very unnatural looking moves like rook g8, but yeah, how does this fit into the overall scheme of things? If white now just moves the rook, let's say here, or even all the way back, I mean, what is the rook doing on g8? And if you take on e3, then queen g7 is very strong. For example, rook f8,
check,
knight f6. Yeah, and this is just terrible for black, with this monster bishop is completely controlling the whole position. Cannot go rook d8, you cannot castle anymore, and all this is weak, and white can simply improve with maybe rook d1, bishop e2, stuff like this. And this is just one idea. There are multiple ideas. Yeah, queen g3 is very annoying on knight d5. So black is in slight trouble already. He needs to be very careful at least. He played b5, which seems okay. And now Grischuk played rook a2, e1. So he wanted to centralize all pieces, and you see that it's quite funny. All these pieces positioned in the center. Yeah, still black cannot castle because of this knight f6, bishop h7 business. And yeah, what should he do? It's really difficult to say. He played in the game, he played c4, trying to solve his problems in a tactical fashion. If you look at this with a computer will tell you that knight d5 is now okay for black, but this is a completely Yeah, this is no human line. If you look at this now, queen g3 looks still very threatening, but the computer just wants to go c4, and I guess proves an analysis that this is okay for black, but no human player would consider this. Queen g7, rook f8. Yeah, bishop here, knight e3, rook e3, bishop e4, rook e4, queen d2, and the computer gives this as completely equal. I looked at this a bit further, and it's probably right, but this is simply a variation that a human player doesn't calculate. I mean, it's simply unrealistic. Yeah, the problem is there are no simple solutions anymore for black. Probably he needs to do this. After c4, he's in trouble. This is clear. Grischuk took, and now took on f6. Yeah, black captured on e4. This was the whole idea. If you would recapture here, then it's rather simple. White can just grab this pawn, and yeah, we are near an end game. In fact, here it's quite nice that you haven't moved any pawns, so you don't have any pawn weaknesses. And yeah, white is just a pawn up. Black also cannot go for this desperado here, because white has this move, and he attacks both the rook and the bishop on rook a8. Oops, not this one. On rook a8, there's this intermediate check, and now you get the bishop. So here, black is just a pawn down. In comparison, this is better than the game, but okay. He took on e4. Rook e4, bishop takes, bishop c4. Yeah, and now he took on d2 with the queen. This was the whole idea of this operation, but it is based on a miscalculation. Probably black here needed to castle and play this position. This is quite similar to this end game from a couple of moves ago, but difference is now we have got opposite colored bishops, which gives black slight hopes that he might be able to get into some endgame that he can hold, but it's not outright equal or something. This is still a weakness, so white has still a pretty clear advantage, but he needed to do this probably. If you look at the game, he grabbed on d2. Yeah, and now Grischuk captured on e6. Very strong move, a sacrifice. And yeah, no way that black cannot take it. He must take on e6.
Check.
Rook e6. Yeah, and now the king is checked, and where should it go? In fact, the only playable move was here, king to f7. I mean, playable in a sense that the game is not immediately over. It's still winning, but
check.
Let's have a look. Queen check. Yeah, black cannot retreat. Yeah, this is
check.
Just checkmate.
Checkmate.
So black needs to go g6, and now queen f3 back. Yeah, you're having everything on f6, and black cannot cover it. This is the unfortunate thing. If you want to cover it,
check.
You've got this stuff.
Check.
And white wins the house. With an ongoing attack, he has 2 extra pawns. Just winning. And yeah, what else is there? Cannot cover this. You can try this kind of things.
Check.
But this is still 2 pawns. With I know this is even checkmate. Sorry, this is even checkmate. Coming. Need to go here. And this kind of
check
variation, yeah, you just need to cover this, and then you're probably winning. 2 pawns. Black can continue, but it's 2 pawns. Yeah, still he needed to do that, but what he played. Okay, let's check first the other moves. This one is simply answered by rook f6. And
check.
Black cannot survive this.
Check. Check.
It's simply this two pieces on an open board are too much.
Check.
You win this, or you get the rook in. It's simply over. So he really needed to go to f7. What he did is, and maybe he saw that king f7 is losing, and he went for this move in the game, king d7, because now white still has to find a good move. But Grischuk is excellent tactically, and he found the move, and this is queen g4, which is exceptionally strong. Now white threatens discoveries with the rook, and yeah, it's over. Black has no way to save himself. We can look through the king moves. Let's say king d8. White just goes here and wins the queen. And I even forgot what he played in the game. Yeah, he played king c7 in the game, but you don't have any other move. Let's say you would attack the queen, then white has this check, and yeah, it simply doesn't help. Let's say here,
check,
and you're mated, or here, and this is also leading to a checkmate.
Check.
And you're getting mated on b7 after black has thrown in a couple of desperado moves. Yeah, the king is simply hunted down now. Yeah, in the game he went for king c7, and Grischuk now just gave the check. King to d7, and queen a4 check. King d8. Yeah, here he could have won a bit quicker with rook e8. He played queen takes a6, which is also completely over with this threat. Rook e8 was also winning, as this position we had earlier, or a very similar one, where this move is winning. Yeah, as mentioned, he took here, but black has no way to save himself. He can simply do nothing about rook d6. Played this, queen b5 check, king d8, and now the check. Yeah, black can go here, and at the end you've got this rook b1 check coming up. So very funny king hunt at the end, at least funny for the white player and for the spectators. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. I think it was fun to watch, and it's not an easy game to figure out, because I'm not quite sure where black really went totally wrong. I mean, he was around here, it was tricky, and maybe he really needed to play this weird computer move knight d5 here, but it's very, very difficult to play for a human player. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.